Hello, everybody. Welcome to Profiling Evil Live with Mike King. Boy, you are probably getting really tired of hearing from me, but there have been some big things happening today, and I just didn't want to let it go much longer without jumping on and sharing with you some of the information that I've learned. Now, if you remember, last week we talked about Chad and Lori Daybell's attorneys, John Pryor and Mark Means, petitioning the court to stop the state from using the remaining DNA that had been recovered when they uncovered the bodies of Joshua, J.J. B.O.L.O, and Tylee Ryan. Well, we learned a whole bunch more yesterday as Prosecutor Wood submitted court documents in connection to the Daybell case. They indicated that law enforcement actually conducted DNA testing on tools seized from Chad Daybell's property. This is really significant. They also revealed that they recovered a possible blood sample found at an apartment. Now, whose apartment it is, we have no idea, but this all comes on the heels of Pryor and Means asking the court last week to stop the state from any further testing because it would use up the remaining DNA samples. Now, a hearing to decide that was scheduled for today. But both the defense and the state agreed to postpone that hearing while they wait for information that's been requested from the state lab. I thought you might be interested. Let's just listen in to a couple of minutes of that trial effort today.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We'll go on the record now. Let's make sure we have our court reporter. Mr. Fuller, are you there? Very well, thank you. This is Fremont County KCR 222755, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. Mr. Daybell is represented by his attorney, John Pryor. And if you give me just a second, I'm going to mute because I got a siren going by here. All right. This is the time we have scheduled for a hearing on the defendant's motions, motion to oppose use of and motion to preserve DNA samples, motion for photographic recording of serology samples and other visual tests, and motion to review lab records. Before we started this hearing, I discussed the matter off the record with counsel, Mr. Pryor and Mr. Wood. The state did file a response to the motion indicating that it didn't entirely object to some of the issues in the motion. Council has agreed to try to see if this issue can be resolved through stipulation, and there are some additional issues that we're going to need to find out from the state lab in order to potentially reach a stipulation. And so in order to allow time for that, it's my understanding the parties have agreed that we should continue today's hearing with the proviso that the state would agree to refrain at this time from any consumptive testing of any evidence in its custody at this time. In other words, any testing that would completely consume the evidence, leaving it unavailable for examination by the defense. And then we could bring the case up again or potentially not have to hear the motion on the basis of a stipulation. So that's what I understand we intend to do today. Mr. Pryor, does that recitation I just gave comport with your understanding of where we are today?
It does, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wood and Ms. Smith. On behalf of the state, are we okay to continue this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Very well. And again, Mr. Wood, as I mentioned, obviously part of that agreement is that the state would refrain from any consumptive testing until this issue is sorted out. Counsel, if you need to have a hearing on this, just contact the court and we can do that potentially even on an expedited basis if necessary. I think that's all we've got for today. Then is there any other issue we need to bring up, Mr. Wood or Ms. Smith from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Means, anything further today?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Thank you. May I be excused?
You may. Thanks, counsel. We'll go ahead and log. Thanks everyone for setting up the hearing today.
Well, there we go. I mean, just as a recap, the defense tried to stop the state from using the remaining DNA The state has now agreed to that. They were actually going to have that hearing today. And as part of, I think, the challenges that happened last week, the state came forward and said, we've also tested tools that were recovered from Chad Daybell's property, and they've also tested some blood that was recovered in someone's apartment. So that is really good news, and they're tipping their hand as they start to bring this thing more together. You know, for the state to not pursue any testing on the remaining DNA, that's the big deal here. The defense is asking that half of the samples be reserved for the defense to do their own testing. So that's really a good thing. We don't want an appeal that they can challenge later on. So that's a good thing. They want to require the state to provide all the records, reports, documentation. Again, folks, while it might be frustrating at times, it's a good thing. And they want to allow time for the defendants to have their DNA experts review all the photographs and lab procedures and everything else. So all of this is not bad. It's really cool that we got to see them tip their hand a little bit today, and that to me was really exciting. Now, the prosecutor made it very clear in the hearing today that the state is continuing to investigate this case. In fact, Wood said, quote, "When updated or new discoverable reports are received, they will be given over to both the defendants on an ongoing basis." He continues by saying, "Since the investigation's inception, numerous items of evidentiary value have been collected, many of which is suitable for forensic analysis and testing." So that tells us they got a lot of stuff that they're processing and moving through, which could really produce some incredibly damning evidence down the road. The reports reflect that the seizure of these items have been produced to the defense already. So there's not any shenanigans going on. I think the state is doing their part, and the defense, whether we are frustrated or not, is doing a good job of defending the Daybells, Chad and Lori, and that's a good thing, folks, because we don't want them to have something that they can appeal. Well, Wood went on to state for the record that he has absolutely no objection to defense experts examining the evidence as long as it's within a reasonable time frame. And the prosecutor made it very clear that the state would hold off on any more testing that might consume all of the evidence until they get information back from the labs. So the cool thing is, bit by bit, we're beginning to see the state's case unfolding. So here's my question for you. It's always a test at the end of PE. My question for you is whether you think the tools in Chad Daybell's possession at the time they were seized are going to link him personally to the desecration of JJ and Tylee's bodies. Who else do you think may have DNA on those same kinds of tools? And what do you think the real significance of this proceeding today is? So let's just take a minute and shout out to a few of you. Thanks for jumping in. I didn't give anyone notice again, which is becoming kind of a habitual thing for me. But Jen White, hello. Stacy G, Cooked Goose, thanks. Louisiana Girl, great to see you in here. Friggin' Frig, Russell Ross, Louisiana Girl, I called out. Let's see, Melody McAtee, thank you. And Free Spirit Prepping and News, hi. It's great to have you all. Coffee Bar Lady, thank you. I don't have my glasses on, but Louisiana Girl, thanks for shouting out. Everybody's always so dang well behaved in here, but thank you for bringing that up. And to Rita, thank you so much. You know, folks, it's a little bit embarrassing to say how much that those donations are helpful, but they do help me keep the back office going. And for those of you that are throwing dollars toward the Diet Dr. Pepper Fund, you know, my personal habit, that's my prescription, and I really appreciate that. But I really want to say, if you've considered, or if you would consider it, think about our channel memberships. You can get in for as little as $2 a month, And of course, it goes on up. And with each level, you get a little more content, a little more information, a little more access. And it really does help us. And if you noticed yesterday, we donated a huge chunk of money to the State Victims' Rights Coalition for training of police officers. And I've taken all the proceeds from my book, Deceived, an investigative memoir of the Zion Society cult, and I've directed that toward building a new children's justice center. And we were the first to give money to the Children's Justice Center director last night. What an honor it is for Bonnie and me to be able to have that money go to protect children. And if you didn't get a chance to look at that video last night, go and look at that on the Children's Justice Center. I had 4 of the survivors of the Zion Society cult on now, and it was just delightful. And frankly, I got a little bit emotional, which some of you made sure you reminded me of. So thanks. Melissa Crone Carvel, thank you. It's so kind. Dancing Queen, Be Real, Bullets for Dinner. That's a good one. And me and Toby 327, I'm glad you're watching. And Dancing Queen says, what about, is this about the boys? Nope, it's not about the boys. It's about one boy and a little girl. And there are just so many darn cases to examine and to spend time looking at. But we'll keep chunking away at things and seeing what's going on and how we can help. Again, you all are just great. Miss Sophia, good to see you here. Sorry, no notice. That's my I guess my code word, no notice, but thanks for jumping in and for moderating it. It was terribly short notice. And it looks like we have somebody from Melbourne, Rosie Iacono. I hope you're watching Mapping or listening to Mapping Evil, Rosie, over there. You have Children Protection Day, I think May 25th in Australia, and I think I'll be doing something for your national news at that time. But I hope you're sharing Mapping Evil with all your friends and watching as things unfold. Plus, we want them to subscribe to Profiling Evil. And did you get it? Holy cow, 60,000 subscribers today. I just am just blown away at how kind you are, and I'm just grateful that you throw a little trust my way. Doesn't look like any real questions are popping up, but I want to just say thanks for tuning in to Profiling Evil. I'm trying to keep these shorter, kind of like a TED Talk, and get you a bunch of content really quickly. But I hope that you went to Profiling Evil podcasts on whatever your favorite podcast platform is and subscribe there and are listening to Linda Stanley, the district attorney from Colorado. We're talking about cold cases, everything from Suzanne Morphew to the serial killer, Alan Phillips, Dante Lucas. And I think you're going to really enjoy that. And we're going to premiere that on Friday on Profiling Evil at 6 p.m. Eastern. So I hope that you'll jump in on that. And please, for this again, please subscribe, like the channel, give me as many thumbs up as you can because it actually helps us. So thanks so much for doing that. And then keep tuned in. If you're subscribed, you're going to get notices when I do crazy things like this. And again, I think you're going to want to hear what the district attorney has to say. Friday is Suzanne Morphew's birthday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. People are going to be releasing a balloon. So anywhere in the world, if you want to just release a balloon in hopes that the tide is turning in the Suzanne Morphew case, that would be great. I actually spoke with folks today about that case and have great hopes for it. So from all of us at Profiling Evil, I hope that you have a great night. Again, remember, if you didn't get the B.O.L.O today, it's because you haven't signed up. The B.O.L.O went out. Shout out to Sergeant Melinda for bringing the case that we spotlighted today forward. Make sure you go to profilingevil.com where you can sign up for the B.O.L.O. you can also purchase a hardbound and signed copy of Deceived on the website profilingevil.com, or you can now get Deceived through Amazon worldwide in paperback and in ebook. And I promise the Audible book is going to be coming out in the coming weeks. So please take advantage of that. And if you haven't looked at our merchandise for a while, go to the merch page and look things over. You only got another month or two to get the inaugural. You can see it over my left shoulder, the inaugural Profiling Evil rookie season coffee mug. So make sure you get that. So from all of us, thanks and have a great evening. And again, just know how much I appreciate everything you do to help us be successful. Good night, everybody.